Hello there, good morning. You sleep well? I hope so. I hope so. I woke up at a very odd, interesting time and then looked at the time, asked God if it's something that should be on my mind. And when it was clear, I turned over and went straight back to bed. And only when after I woke up, I realized there was a thought there that came in. And it's something interesting because I actually happened to see a video last night again, and I see all kinds of things online these days down this similar idea. It's comparison. Oh, people love comparing people. People of the past with people of now. One of the biggest ones I tend to see on my social medias, but there's probably plenty other in the other sports as well. But one of the biggest sporting comparisons I see on Facebook Reels or YouTube videos or TikToks videos and all that stuff is who was better, LeBron James or Michael Jordan? Who's the better GOAT? That's the word. The greatest of all time, the GOAT. And yeah, you see, I can't really speak to that. Everybody like to throw stats and stuff, but I think personally the problem is that stats isn't the only thing that speaks to whether you're the best of all time or not. Your character adds. And there's a lot of things I see in LeBron that I never used to see in Michael Jordan. But also there's generational differences between how people look at things. And I see the youngsters argue with older people, older generation people, or Michael's generation versus LeBron. I see them arguing all the time. Now, I can't really speak a lot of basketball. I don't. That's not a sport I avidly watch. I do know the older guys though. I never followed basketball since I can call them probably the OGs. The Michael Jordans, the Larry Birds, the Patrick Ewings. When those guys stopped playing, I didn't even then avidly watch it. I was just a fan of basketball at the time, a little bit. But I can talk a lot more cricket. I can tell you that. I can tell you my favorite cricketer of all time was Hansie Cronje. My favorite batsman of all time, which is my opinion, that would be Sachin Tendulkar. And my favorite best all-rounder in my opinion was Jock Cullis. The OG all-rounder, however, in my opinion, was Brian McMillan. So I can tell you what mine is, and stats can speak, and character can speak, but there's a lot of oaks before my time that played, the Graham Pollocks, the Viv Richards, those guys. I can't speak of those guys, and unfortunately, there's definitely not enough actual video footage of the guys even before them that can tell us who was and is the greatest of all time, because the rules in the sports and stuff have changed. Now, so now you can go, okay, well, this guy's now better than that guy, but he's not playing the same rule. T20 didn't exist 40 years ago. T20 cricket, for argument's sake. That didn't exist 40 years ago. That T20 in itself changed the whole dynamic of one-day cricket as well as Test cricket. So there's these things that doesn't come into calculation. I feel when these comparisons and things happen. So it's what is the terms of the comparisons? What is my point? I'm not here to talk sport today. No, I'm not. But have you ever sat in a place and go, you know what? I'm better than this person at this thing. I'm a better IT guy than this guy. I'm a better mechanical worker than this guy. I'm a better speaker than this person. I'm a better this than that person. Why do you compare in the first place? One thing that I've been thinking of is, there's always that feeling of I'm short. When people attack you, it's a pride thing. It's an ego thing. You're hurt now because you're not as good as you can or should be. You're not performing at your optimal level. And when somebody mentions it, you feel insulted. So now you want to deflect and you want to go, yeah, but that oak's not as good as me. Who cares about that oak? You shouldn't care about that oak. Because your standard. You would deflect also because that oak not being able to perform at our level, it's easier for us to show efficiency versus that person when your own personal standard and your level of efficiency is a lot higher by nature, and you know it, and that's why you feel insulted. Makkelijk, né? See, this speaks to stewarding well your level of ability that was given to you. God made you better at speaking, better at IT, better at sports, better at whatever sport, any sport, particular sport. God made you that good because there's a purpose for you there. There's a reason for you there. There's a calling for you there, for your life. My race isn't your race. Your race isn't my race, or anybody else's race for that matter. Jordan's race wasn't LeBron's race. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure God would have put them in the same time if they had to race against each other for something. You understand what I'm saying? That's kind of what I'm thinking, to throw that one in there quickly. We're the same as Sessions' race was never Callus's race, or AB's race even. You know, when you learn to change your mind to look at the best version of yourself, the best version of your purpose and what God has called you to be, then you start moving in the right direction over here. Because it's not to do good, to look good for other people, or to look better than other people. We're running the race, and we need to run it with endurance for God. The Bible teaches us, do whatever you do, whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it as you're doing it for the Lord. That's where the important thing comes in. And if you think of every second of your day, whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's your job, whether you're performing your stuff at home, are you doing it for you, you're doing it for somebody else, you're doing it for stats and bonuses and all these lekker things. It's lekker to get those things, I know. I also love to get them. I also want to get them. And there are times where we can't get them because, I don't know, budgets don't get made and all that interesting stuff. But does that affect your level of working? That, my friend, actually falls then into idolatry, I would say. Because you're not performing good because that thing isn't being given to you, when God is the giver of all things. If you do your work as if you're doing it for the Lord, you should always be performing at your utmost best. And I know we get tired and we get moeg on Friday afternoons and all these things, but that's where conviction should start coming in, going, you know what? I've got a level that I work at. This is the standard of my work. I'm not going to drop it, because what if Jesus needs to come use this thing tomorrow? That's a question I always ask myself. So in 1 Corinthians 9, Paul says, do you not know that those who all run in a race, do you not know that those who run in a race all run, but only one receives the prize? They say run in such a way that you may obtain it. But in this area, in this particular way, he's not talking about an actual race, being the goat. He's talking about an imperishable crown, which we get one day when we get to Jesus, when this life ends. But we need to run, because we need to serve God with all we got while we are here. Hebrews 12, the second part of verse 1 also says, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. So give it your best, looking unto Jesus, as verse 2 starts. Oh man. Isaiah 30 helps us over here. He says, your ears shall hear words behind you saying, here's the road, walk here. This is the way, walk in it. Whenever you turn to the right or to the left, don't. Ask God to direct your steps. Psalm 37, I read a little bit of this morning, and this is so good. I would suggest go reading the whole Psalm 37, because in the beginning, David starts with, do not fret because of evildoers. Do not be envious of the workers of iniquity. Don't be envious of other people. Run your race. Verse 3, trust in the Lord and do good. Feed on his faithfulness. Verse 4, delight yourself in the Lord, and he shall give you the desires of your heart. Commit your ways to him. In verse 5, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. Commit your ways to the Lord. If you're committed to him, you'll probably do the best you can anyway, because then you'll know that's who you're doing it for. So I would say, stop comparing yourself to others. You literally cannot. Yes, we have these rating systems in life, I get it. But once you pass the rating systems, if you do good, one thing that I've picked up in life, if you do your utmost best and you perform your job as if you're doing it for the Lord and not for mere men, as the Bible also teaches us, your stats are going to be automatically good, because you're going to perform the job you're in to the best of your ability, despite what's going on around you, despite the people being toxic to you and rude to you and people getting awards over there or whatever. God will turn the attention to you when he's ready. He says, if you do it in secret and you keep to my ways, God will elevate you, my friend. But it's not the elevation that you should be seeking. It'll happen as it comes. It's great to get it. But what we should be looking for is the gratification of the well done from God. That's a different kind of well done, man. So stop deflecting to other people, because you guys aren't running the same race. You can't deflect to other people. Rather take the conviction, because God doesn't care about your image, your ego, your pride. He cares about you, yes, so in a matter he does, but he doesn't care of the selfish version of that. You know what I mean? So if you're doing it for your own reasons, then God's not going to help you over there. If you do it for him, it's a different ballgame. But then you need to do it, not do it to get something. You know what I mean? So yeah, remember that you are the goat in your story.